Good morning. Let's call the meeting to order. It's Saturday, February 1st. We're in Clark County Commission Chambers, Wildlife Commission meeting. It's about 8:33. We're getting going. Let's start with Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Bliss, will you lead us off? Okay. Can we get a roll call, Suzanne? Here.
Here.
Here. Okay, thank you. County Advisory Boards, can you please stand and announce yourself?
Paul Dexter, Park. Mike Reeves, Park. Giliana, Carson. Rory Lyle, Lincoln. Tom Barnes, Elko. Rex Flowers, Washoe. Eric Clifford, Churchill. Joe Cram, Pershing. Lynn Bunch, Mineral.
Okay, thank you guys. We'll move on to agenda item number 9 or 10, approval of agenda. Anybody got anything to say on today's agenda? Order? No? Any public comment on this? I'll bring it back to the commission.
Move to approve.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous. Number 11, member announcements. Anybody have anything they want to bring forward at this point on the commission? Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quick, as the designated member of the commission for the Predatory Rodent Control Committee, they're trying to put together a meeting. I've yet to hear what day. I was contacted and asked for days of availability, and I emailed them back and have not heard anything back. That was about a week ago. So, not really sure what's going on with that, but just wanted to let everybody know.
Any other commissioners have anything? Seeing none, we'll close that agenda item. Move on to number 12, County Advisory Boards. Do you have anything you want to bring forward that's not on today's agenda? Mr. Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was brought to my attention yesterday that in the support material that you received for the next agenda item, the seasons, the 2014 antlerless elk landowner hunts, I think in your material it shows actually that both of them were checked, but that we disagreed. We had some confusion in the vote, and we did support that recommendation.
Okay,
so just
thank
before
you.
we get started, just so that everyone knows.
All right, thank you. Any other CABs have anything they want to bring forward at this point? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item number 13, regulations for possible action. Commission Regulation 13-04, Big Game Seasons Amendment number 1. Mike Cox. I guess we got there faster than Mike thought we would. Not a problem. We buzzed right through the first agenda items. Yes. No, I don't think your mic's on. I can hear you. There you go.
Now,
You're on.
it just lit up. Okay. Thanks. Mike Cox, Big Game Staff Biologist for Nevada Department of Wildlife. So we'll start off with the main amendment and then a series of all the other season-related CRs. So we have, last year, we did approve most of the seasons for 2013 and 14, and we have a series of amendments to go over. I'll start with antelope. Last year, there's probably better memories out there than mine, but I think there was a concern about a couple of the hunts and how the rifle hunts would go. Maybe in Pershing County, there was a late season at the end of September. So you did not approve any of the Hunt 2151 buck, pronghorn antelope, any legal weapon last year for the 2014 season. So we have both the resident 2151 hunt and the non-resident 2251 hunt to take action on today.
Any questions? Seeing none, we want to do these one by one, get through them, and call public comment on each species, and we'll go that direction. So, any public comment on hunts 2151 and 2251 antelope? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Wallace?
I just have one question, Mike. On the 211 to 213 zone, you've got an August 22nd to September 5th date, and the right next door 205, 208 is a September 25th to October 4th. Is there a particular reason on that, or?
Well, it was the flavor of Mineral County. We've had that season date to accommodate our muzzleloader pronghorn hunts. And they looked at that season date and they said, you know what, our sportsmen may want to hunt later, and we would ask, this was Mineral County, we would ask, could we have that season for our units? And we didn't have any objection, and so we certainly, and that was kind of the same thing that happened with the late Western Pershing County unit group. They thought let's try the later September season versus stacking one on top of the other between late August and early September. So we're certainly open to that other season period for other units if we get interest from the other counties.
Well, the Esmeralda Cab didn't meet this month, so I just was looking at that earlier and noticed it, but I'm not going to worry about it at this point. But that later season, to me, it's a lot cooler time of year for taking care of the meat and other issues. So I'll bring that up with them maybe next year. We'll just leave it for now.
Yeah, I don't know how many years I've been doing this, but I've been soft selling the point that I think in the West, we in Oregon are the only two states that hunt our pronghorn pre-rut. All the other Western states, California, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, all hunt their pronghorn post-rut in that end of September, early October.
Mr. Bunch?
Glenn Bunch, Mineral County. A little more insight on that. There's a Vegas to Reno race in August, and it's usually the second or third weekend in August, and it was always right in that season that was in the past. And we were getting complaints from the sportsmen around that they were having to compete with that off-road race that comes through on a Friday. And they shut down that road and the roads through the area for the race. Even though we didn't seem to have a problem, we were receiving complaints. Endow received complaints about it too from sportsmen, and we chose to move it to that season, so that takes us off of the race date.
Any, Commissioner Wallace?
Well, maybe for that same reason, since the Esmeralda hunt
through.
is so new, maybe we need to look at doing that too, because I know that race goes right through the middle of Esmeralda as well.
It does. I had forgotten about that issue that Glenn brought up.
Okay, any other questions? You want to make a motion, Commissioner Wallace?
Yeah. I move to approve resident antelope horns longer than ears, any legal weapon hunt 2151 as presented by the department with the exception of unit group 211 to 213 to make that season mirror 205 to 208, September 25th to October 4th. And to approve non-resident antelope horns longer than ears, any legal weapon hunt 2251 as presented by the department.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Wallace, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
So we had no other alternate recommendations for any of the other pronghorn antelope hunts for bucks. Jumping down to the horn shorter than ears, hunt 2181, illegal weapon. We added, actually moved portions of Unit 144 from its separate hunt into its pronghorn herd unit group with 065 and 142, and added a hunt on the bottom for Central Nevada. And I'd like to make a correction on that 131 unit group, that our intentions are to only have unit 131 and 145 for that hunt. And we would ask that we would eliminate 163 and 164.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Wallace, you got a motion?
Yeah, I move to approve resident antelope horns shorter than ears, any legal weapon hunt 2181 as presented by the department with the exception of removing hunt 163, 164.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wallace, second by Commissioner Young. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
All right, here's the big gorilla, elk.
Okay, I have a question by Commissioner McNinch. We did not take any action on the other two, but we don't have any changes. Do we need to take action on those if there was no changes proposed?
You know, it would be no harm. I listed them just so that if there was anyone else that wanted to make a change, they were approved last year, but
So we're clean. Anybody have a motion on hunt 2171 and 2161?
I'll make a motion,
Or-
Mr. Chairman. I
What's
move
that?
to approve resident antelope hunt 2161 longbow archery hunt and non-resident antelope, horns longer than ears, hunt 2261 as recommended by the department.
I'll second that motion and would ask if Commissioner Young would include Hunt 2171 muzzleloader in it.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, I missed that. I do include
Okay. And
that hunt as
I
well.
would include it as well in mine.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Bliss?
I'm just curious, before we take a motion on this, do we need to take it to the public?
Any public comment on this before we take a vote? Seeing none, we're ready. I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, motion passed unanimous. Now we're on to 4102.
Unless you see a need to kind of give an overview of all these hunts, when we get to each hunt, we could discuss why we're recommending that particular hunt, if it's a new hunt, what adjustments we had to make with other hunts. So I could give an overview now or just kind of jump into it.
Let's jump into it and
Okay.
do them one by one, and we'll just tackle this one by one because there's so many changes and new hunts and stuff.
What I'd like to do is start with probably what is causing everything else to rotate from that, which is the cow rifle hunt 4181. And then I think it'll help explain things a bit better. So that is page 10. And I'm calling on my fellow game division staff to help me out here and make sure I didn't forget anything. So you'll probably be hearing from Ken Gray and or Larry Gilbertson. Okay, so at the top of the antlerless elk any legal weapon hunt 4181, we've got several changes in the two Area 6 unit groups. And what we've done is shifted this early season, which last year it was this date, was the September 17th through October 6th, the recommendation that we have now. We are bumping, so this date here, we are bumping the cow muzzleloader season out of that time frame for those two unit groups, because the rifle is a more effective weapon, will have higher hunter success, and we'll be able to work better toward achieving our goal of population objective. So that would accommodate, that would basically be the early season, and we're going to definitely be putting the majority, at least 60% if not higher, quota into that season. And at least for the next couple years, we will not be recommending a cow muzzleloader season at that time. We're shifting that to an earlier date. So everything's kind of rotating off of putting a more effective weapon in the field in late September, which is going to force the archery and the muzzleloader to shift earlier, and a little bit of change on the back end. The second cow elk rifle season, which is considered the mid-season, we're recommending a start October 7th through the 20th. We know that is overlapping the deer hunt, and with that period, we're recommending the combination hunt for the deer hunters who apply for this for Area 6 deer hunt for the Delk tag. So at the same time frame, we'll have hopefully hunters with a deer tag in their pocket and a cow tag in their pocket on top of the 4181 tag holders. And then the late season starts the same time, but you'll see throughout our cow elk seasons that had been running through January 1st. We're recommending to extend that to January 15th in hopes of getting more harvest, maybe accommodating some late snows that push the elk down but still allow hunter access. So that is same thing. The same season structure will occur in both of the Area 6 elk unit groups. We've, again, shifted anything that was January 1 to January 15th in other parts of the state. We eliminated the Area 10 cow elk rifle hunts from this hunt and wanted to be more transparent and identify that this truly is a depredation hunt. So those seasons didn't go away, but they were moved to the antlerless depredation hunt so that it would make more sense to the applicant that it truly is a depredation hunt. Low numbers, difficult hunter success. Same thing with the unit 144, 145. We also moved that out of this hunt and put it in under the depredation hunt. We did have, for this hunt from the advisory boards, a couple recommendations, different changes. So I'll leave it at that, and then we'll get the discussion going and drill into it deeper.
Okay, any questions from the commission? Commissioner Macbeth.
Thank you, Chairman Robb. I'm going to be making a comment about all of the elk hunts, and I'm not sure exactly how to make it with respect to the cow hunt. I'd actually think probably need to see a map of the unit group, the 221, 222, 223 unit group. Okay, yes, that's what I remember. Last year, there was comments from the Lincoln County CAB with respect to moving Unit 223 for the elk hunt back into the 221, 223 unit group in general. I know they had some discussions about this year. They didn't make any recommendations. Couldn't come to a consensus, I understand, but I have had some discussions with them about that, and so I'm would propose that we do that, move the unit 223 into the 221, 222 unit group. Based on discussions I've had, everybody pretty much agrees that that herd goes north-south and has more connection to 221, 222 than it does to Area 23. And for this cow hunt, I would propose that we add 223 to 222. When you look at the map, that would make the most sense because they're contiguous.
Any other commission comment? Seeing none, we'll go to public comment. Rex?
When you look at Rex Flowers, Washoe County for the record, when you look at these antlerless hunts, the 061, 071, and then the 062 categories on their early hunts do also, they've caused a bump in the muzzleloader and antlered archery hunts, those hunts now have got to go way forward. Archers are concerned that, you know, they're being put into mid-August and they're losing that ability to hunt. They're at the rut or as they're going into the rut. So I think you need to give consideration to that, and we'll have a recommendation when we get to the antler part.
Okay. Corey?
For the record, Corey Laddle, I'm speaking on behalf of myself for this. I want to concur with Commissioner Macbeth on the 223 unit grouping. We didn't actually meet on this or take an action on this with our CAB the other night, and it's kind of a non-issue in some regard. Our biologist was here yesterday. We discussed it. I know there was a phone call to Kurt in White Pine. There's some history to this, and the reason why 223 was in 231 to begin with. But it makes perfect sense to mold that, especially when we talk about the Delk situation and the wilderness situation. So I think it's going to be a lot clearer for sportsmen, so I'd like to support that.
Mr. Cox?
Yes, we did chat with our respective field biologists yesterday. We did have a discussion on this in our game division meeting in early January. We didn't have a resolution then. I think because of Commissioner Macbeth, legitimate concern and thought, we wanted to revisit it, and we do support the 223 being attached to the Area 22 unit groups, and I think we were a little hesitant as when that herd was growing and small, of not putting too much attention to it. It's not all that, I mean, people go down there and they're probably not going to find what they want, and they may go back to the main core elk herds, but it does make sense. It's connected. It's the south end of the Egan's. So we would support that. We'll have to, during these other, we'll definitely look at the quota in May and take a look at that, but we will support that 223. It does make sense to the sportsmen and the applicants to move it in with 222.
Commissioner Macbeth. I want to point something out that I failed to mention in my first discussion of this matter, and probably one of the biggest reasons I think this makes even more sense. When you look, and we haven't got to it yet, but when you look at the Delk tag proposal, right now you've got 221, 222, early mid on Delk, but for the deer hunt, that unit group is 221 to 223. And so by putting 223 in, like we've proposed here, we solve the problem of having a not having a Delk tag that has 3 units for the deer portion and just the 2 units for the elk portion.
Any other commission comments? Any more public comment? Mr. Johnson.
Larry Johnson, representing myself. Just kind of an overall comment I have on the elk plan management. You know, I sat on the statewide elk plan, sat on Central Nevada elk plan, helped formulate the damage compensation legislative package, helped formulate the landowner incentive tag legislative package. One of the important things that we as sportsmen, I think, need to keep in mind is the need to keep our word in these areas of where we have established population objectives. It's really too easy for us to say more elk is wonderful, and it is. It's a tremendously successful program, but at the same time, when we establish population objectives. It is imperative on us to keep our word and do our very best. So I applaud the overall actions here to spread as many cow tags and as many hunts in these areas where we are overpopulated. Again, my hat's off to Endo on this thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Mr. Cox?
I'd like to try to make another general comment. And again, we're starting with this cow rifle hunt because everything kind of is an offshoot of that. And as even Rex pointed out, that these archery and muzzleloader hunts got shifted. So once you approve the season dates, you've kind of set the ball rolling in those other hunts. We would have loved to have more time as a game division to look at our whole card in relation to deer hunts and elk hunts. We already have concerns from sportsmen of the congestion in that early October period. We didn't, we could have maybe come up with some other recommendations, alternatives to try to spread the wealth out. Maybe have a cow elk hunters only out there in the field, or only deer hunters in the field. But what we're recommending before you is there's no hole in that early October where we don't have cow elk hunts. And the whole concept of the DELK program was to try to get a little bit more harvest with no more tag holders in the field. But we still have this 4181 hunt in early October. So I just, not a perfect world. And like I said, I wish we could have had a little bit more time to think through this. So just want to make you aware, even though we'll be moving a lot of those tags into end of September, we're still going to have a good sizable quota between the 4181 hunt and the DELK tag holders.
Mr. Barnes?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, Tom Barnes, Elko County CAB. I guess my comment's going to be kind of in general on all these elk hunts. They did a lot of stuff up in Elko County trying to take care of this elk program. And when you start looking at the season dates, it gets very complicated, to say the least. So I want to thank the department for the work they put in putting these seasons together. And we realize that it's not going to be completely perfect. There's going to be a lot of overlap and stuff, but I think they did a tremendous job getting these seasons together, and it was for that reason that we supported all the season dates on all these elk hunts in Elko County.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion on 4181. Commissioner Drew?
Before we get to a motion, just a comment, and this may be premature, but when we get into the DELK and the BELK tags, I know everyone in the room here understands what those are because we've been talking about them for several months now. My concern is when this goes out to sportsmen, they'll look at that and not necessarily know what that means. So when we get to the point where we have a motion on that, maybe a footnote to explain right here what it is. I'm sure the department will put out literature on that in terms of what's new, but I think it would help to have it right here in the regulation, maybe even call it a combination hunt, just so it's clear, because I think a lot of people are going to see that in the booklet and not understand what it is. So just a general comment.
Mr. Cox?
We did have a discussion with Maureen Hollinger with the license office, and it was her recommendation, and definitely a good one, that the format of the application guide is going to be looking much different than what you have for us to approve the seasons. And basically we're going to have those DELK tags and BELK tags. There will probably be an extra column on the deer table because they're attached and associated with it in the application process. You're hunting the same geographic area. So, but I think it would be good in your motion to help support and remind us that we have to do a really good job in displaying that information better than what it is here.
Any other comment? Anybody got a motion? Commissioner Macbeth?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve resident elk analyst and illegal weapon hump 4181. And I believe the only change is the change that to move Unit 223, which is currently included in the unit group, which is the very last three early, mid, and late hunts, 223, 231, 241, 242. Move the 223 unit group to be included with Unit 222 early, and that would be for the early hunt, the mid hunt, and the late hunt. So that for 222, it'll now read 222, 223, early, mid, and late.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
I figured I'd better get some of this stuff correct now, because afterwards I may forget all the things that we do. I'm not sure if there's an exact science or logic to where we go next. I was thinking we'll take the wilderness portion of that 4181 hunt, and then before we get into the new special hunts, go back to our standard archery and muzzleloader hunts. So in addition to the unit group-wide hunts that we just approved, we have an additional, it's still a 4181 hunt, but I wanted to pull these separate unit groups out because they only are, the tags will only be good for those portions of the units within the wilderness boundaries. So we have the Mount Grafton Wilderness in 222, Table Mountain in central Nevada, and the 3 separate wilderness areas in 231. And those dates, we decided just to go simple, and those are the same dates for the unit-wide hunts that will be occurring. So the folks that draw, let's say, a 222 tag early, they can hunt in any and all part of the unit 222, including the wilderness, but these hunters must only hunt within the wilderness area.
Okay, what kind of quota are you looking at for 162? And the reason I ask it, my only concern with that is that will be right on top of a deer hunt. If somebody's looking for a wilderness deer hunt, how many cow hunters are we gonna put in there at that same time?
We hadn't discussed it. I don't think it's going to be anything huge, but I'm not even going to give you a ballpark. We just didn't discuss it.
Okay, I just wanted to bring that up as a comment, so when we're talking about quotas later on, that's a concern that I know I have, because people look at Table Mountain to get away from other people, and then we start throwing cow tags in on top of deer hunters. I don't know how well that's gonna sit.
I will advise our troops when we get together of that.
Any other commission comment? Seeing none, any public comment on this? I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion. Commissioner Macbeth?
Before I do that, is there any, would there be a possibility of moving the 162 season dates? Or is that a time when you want to be able to hunt them?
I'd be open to an alternate date. I know we looked at it a little bit. We've got the muzzleloader on the front end, the bull hunt on the back end.
You're gonna be on top of somebody no matter what.
Okay. Okay, then I'll go ahead and make a motion with respect to resident elk, antlerless, any legal weapon hunt, 4181 wilderness-only hunts, to approve that hunt as proposed by the department.
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
And while we're at it, ask you to consider the non-resident antlerless elk, any legal weapon hunt, 4281. And just wanted to point out, we did discuss having non-residents in some of these other hunts. Delk tags, the wilderness, and we decided to start simple. Let's play these hunts out with our residents, and then we'll see how that goes, and maybe down the road expand them. But this is the only non-resident hunt for cow elk is just the rifle, 4281.
Any questions? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner
make a
Macbeth?
motion.
Or
I'll make a
Commissioner
motion,
McNinch?
Mr. Chairman, to approve non-resident elk, antlerless, any legal weapon hunt, 4281 as submitted by the department.
Motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Macbeth. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
Move to the muzzleloader antlerless elk hunt 4176 to accommodate the rifle hunt in that end of September. We've done a couple different things with those Area 6 unit groups. We had concerns last year from the bull muzzleloader hunts because we had a fairly sizable bull muzzleloader tag quota in 6171. And even with the shift in that season, we decided just to, for now, close the cow muzzleloader hunt and allow for the rifle hunt to happen and the bull muzzleloader hunts to have a good experience out there. And once we get the harvest we need, hopefully we'll return that antlerless muzzleloader hunt back to 6171. Just couldn't find a really good date for that. And then this is the first shift you'll see for the 6.2 through 6.8 unit group. That muzzleloader season will be shifted to the earlier part of September. And just to let you know, going back to the bull 4161, that was truncated, started earlier and truncated so that it would end at the end of August. again, it's domino theory here, but just wanted to let you know that is where we pushed the bull archery seasons to accommodate our recommended cow muzzleloader season.
Okay, Commissioner Macbeth.
I'll be making the same comment on all the elk hunts. Anywhere you see Unit 223 included with 231, 241, and 242, to move 223 with 221 and 222.
Okay, any other commission comment? Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth.
Okay, I'll go ahead and move to approve resident elk antlerless muzzleloader hunt 4176 as proposed by the department, with the exception moving Unit 223 from the 231, 241, 242 unit group and include it with 221 and 222.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
Antlerless elk longbow archery hunt 4111. Season dates for the Area 6 unit groups, same as starting date, but we truncated it at the 15th. We definitely need to make buyer beware statements for our applicants for those two unit groups. But that we just really didn't want to start any sooner than August 1st for these hunts, and we did talk about just eliminating the archery hunt. But we kind of compromised and said, well, a shorter season might be better than nothing, but so that's where we're at. So that August 1 through 15th is what we're recommending, and that was the only change.
Okay, any commission questions? Commissioner Macbeth?
I'll continue the same comment on Unit 223.
Okay, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
Okay, I'll go ahead and move to approve resident elk antlerless longbow archery hunt 4111 as proposed by the department, with the exception of moving Unit 223 from the 231, 241, 242 unit group and move it up to the 221, 222 unit group.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
I guess while we're talking about antlerless, let's just continue with those. Going back to the first of the delk tags, the combination cow-elk tag to go with a deer tag, hunt 4481, any legal weapon, and just a quick clarification reminder. This is an elk hunt, but it is going to occur the exact same season dates as the deer hunt, and we've made it so that it would occur for the exact same geographic unit groups that the deer hunters will be hunting, to try to minimize the confusion. Those dates, again, are the deer season dates, not the 4181 dates.
Okay, any questions from the commission? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
Okay, I'd move to approve the Delk Resident Elk Antlerless Elk Management Any Legal Weapon Hunt number 4481, as proposed by the department, with the exception adding Unit 223 to the 221 to 222 early and mid unit groups.
Okay, we have a motion.
Second?
We have a motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Commissioner Drew?
Just so it's on the record, and I don't think it needs to be in the motion because I trust that Maureen will do a good job with this, but just to make sure in our booklet that we have a clear explanation of what that hunt is and that it's a combination hunt.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
The Delk antlerless muzzleloader weapon hunt 4476, a smaller group of unit groups. And just, again, it's, I probably should have stated, so we've got, when there's a deer rifle hunt, we'll accommodate it with these Delk cow rifle hunters or hunt tags. When there is a deer muzzleloader season, we'll provide opportunity for a cow elk muzzleloader tag. Those are the deer hunt seasons and corresponding to the deer unit groups, except for Area 10, it's just where we have elk in East Humboldt's Rubies and the south end of the Rubies, 101 through 103.
Do you want to go through 4411 at the same time? We can get them out of the way at the same time, hopefully.
And also, please make a recommendation for the longbow archery hunt 4411, the Delk portion of that for longbow.
Okay, any commission questions? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
Okay, might as well just keep rolling here. I'd like to move to approve Delk Resident Elk Antlerless Elk Management Muzzleloader Hunt number 4476, as well as Delk Resident Elk Antlerless Elk Management Longbow Hunt number 4411, as proposed by the department.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner Young. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
Okay, now we have the bull elk, cow elk combination hunt. Belk tags for all three weapon classes for a limited number of unit groups. These cow antlerless elk hunts will be allowed if someone puts in a bull for a bull antlered hunt for that particular unit, check a box, and they could have potentially a bull tag and a cow tag in their pockets. And those are the bull seasons. So the cow hunters could hunt during that bull season in those unit groups. And that is hunt 4481 for the any legal weapon, hunt 4476 for the muzzleloader weapon, and 4411 for the longbow archery.
Commissioner Bliss?
Mike, in your guys' discussions on this particular hunt, did you guys take into consideration what this may do to the overall bull harvest? If you bull hunter has this and they go in and this ability, they go in and they harvest a cow first, and then they choose to only try to hunt a trophy type bull and choose not to shoot a bull for the meat purposes. Are we going to negatively affect our bull harvest, or what our objective is, you know, in our bull harvest by allowing them to shoot a cow?
You know, our thought, or at this time a theory, was a lot of the guys are probably going to stay focused on their bull hunt, looking for that trophy quality bull throughout the season, and knowing that if they pull the trigger and kill, that's a 10-year wait. And if they don't, it's a 5-year wait. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So that maybe the last day or two of this bull hunt, they might be willing to take some meat home and just kill a cow. But that was our thought of throwing that bone to these bull hunters. Of if they don't see anything that they want to take home as a trophy bull, they would be able to harvest a cow. And I don't think we're going to have a large number of these applicants that may choose this option, but we just wanted to make it available. So we didn't foresee any major reduction in the bull harvest because of this.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
Okay, I'll go ahead and move to approve the Belk Resident Elk Antlerless Elk Management Any Lethal Weapon Hunt, number 4481. Belk Resident Elk Antlerless Elk Management Muzzleloader Hunt, 4476. As well as Belk Resident Elk Antlerless Elk Management Longbow Hunt, 4411, as proposed by the department.
Motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner Young. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
Gonna finish the antlerless hunts going down to the 4107, which is page 13. We've expanded more units into this hunt, and like I said earlier, we did pull some of the unit groups out of the 4181 hunt to try to make it more clear to the applicants that this truly is a little different management philosophy on this hunt than our standard cow hunts. And there is, in many of these areas, access could be an issue, densities could be an issue. So we were pretty excited about the success, preliminary success in the 081 series of unit groups. So we were pretty pleasantly surprised on that. We're going back to a single long season for the Rubies and East Humboldts. And we're expanding the Cherry Creek Range Unit 121 to spread the wealth out into multiple seasons instead of a single long season, and everyone goes out on the opener. Hopes that we get more harvest by spreading multiple seasons. And we did the same thing for the 144, 145, that limited elk herd that we've got an agreement to not have an established elk herd there. So that's the 4180 or 4107 antlerless elk, any legal weapon depredation hunt.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
I'll go ahead and move to approve Resident Elk Antlerless Any Legal Weapon Depredation Hunt, number 4107, as proposed by the department.
Second.
We got a motion by Commissioner McBeth, second by Commissioner McNith. Any further questions? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
Okay, we'll go back to the antlered. And we'll finish up with the spike hunts. So go back to, actually, let's go back to 4161, the earliest of our elk hunts on page 8. So we shifted the season earlier and end earlier to accommodate the muzzleloader season that will fill that early September period. So that August 16th through the 31st is what we're recommending for the 2 unit groups in Area 6 for the resident elk, antlered longbow hunt 4161, and also for the non-resident hunt 4261.
Any questions? Commissioner McBeth?
Just continue with the comment to move Unit 223 from the 231, 241, 242 unit group into the 221, 222 unit group on both of those hunts.
Any public comment? Rex?
Rex Flowers, Washoe County. We would suggest moving the archery hunt back to where it was last year. We know it's going to have some overlap, but we would also suggest moving the muzzleloader season back to where it was last year. There'll be some overlap with other hunters, but with cow hunters, but the thought was that the archers would rather be in close proximity to your rut rather than clear out in the middle of August. So that was the request. Again, we're into a tough situation now where we have to start learning to live with other user groups. And Jack, you just alluded to that earlier with the wilderness hunt in Area 16. So
Yep.
you guys have got to start getting educated on this is coming. Thank you.
Commissioner Drew?
Mike, just a question in that regards. In some of the other areas where we've had those early muzzleloader hunts that land in that kind of prime rut time, we've talked about rotating those through weapon classes. Do you kind of envision that happening now that we have some of these changes too?
That is my thought. It's not endorsed by everyone, but I know when we established that rotating rut hunt in central Nevada, I know a lot of people were looking at that. This will be the first year that we have that rotation happening, and I think I would love to see other unit groups consider that rotation.
Commissioner Bliss?
Is there any incentive tags in that unit?
In the Area 6?
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Ken, how many, what are the numbers, roughly? The bull incentive tags for both 6171 and 62 through 68. I don't have them off the top of my head of what.
Yeah, Ken Gray, Department of Wildlife. It's not very significant in 061, 071. I think we're at about 8 tags, and in 062, I think we're at about 5. So it's a handful, not like the 081 unit group.
Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, I'll go to public comment. Any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner McBeth?
So there's no comment from Melco on the proposal from Washoe County? So is that the flavor of the commission to accept the Washoe County proposal?
I have a hard time accepting one commission's, or one cab's proposal with the other cabs not chiming. I mean, if we had more than one cab coming forward with something like that, but every other cab took action to go with department recommendations, you get one cab coming in to change something, I struggle with that.
Okay, I just wanted to know how to make the motion.
Okay, Commissioner McBeth?
Get myself straightened out here.
Oh, come on up, Mr. Barnes, before we get going. You didn't have comment, now you do. Come on up.
For the record, Tom Barnes, Elko County. I wasn't going to comment, but this was part of the discussion that we had at our meeting, that, you know, we realize that there's going to be growing pains with everything we have going on, and so that's why we decided just to stick with the department's recommendation now, see what happens, and if we need to make adjustments from there, we recognize we may have to make adjustments from there, but the way everything was, we thought we just better stick with what the department recommended and go with that for now.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner McBeth?
Okay, with that, I would move to approve resident elk antlered longbow archery hunt 4161 as proposed by the department, with the exception of moving Unit 223 from 231, 241, 242 and add it to Unit Group 221, 222 on both of those hunts. Oh, actually, the motion should include non-resident elk antlered longbow archery hunt number 4261, also as proposed by the department, with the exact same change with the Unit 223. Did I confuse everybody completely on that?
No, I'm going to second it. I understood what you're...
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
All right, backing up to page 7 for the antlered muzzleloader seasons for resident 4156 and non-resident 4256. We are recommending for the 2 unit groups in Area 6 to shift their muzzleloader seasons to early September versus later September. That's September 1 through the 16th.
Any questions? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner McBeth?
Okay, I'd move to approve resident elk antlered muzzleloader hunt number 4156 and non-resident elk antlered muzzleloader hunt number 4256, both as proposed by the department, with the exception of moving Unit 223, which is currently included in the 231, 241, 242 unit group, and moving it up to the 221, 222 unit group.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner McBeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
All right, again, backing up to page 6 and considering the resident elk hunt, antlered any legal weapon 4151, and its companion non-resident hunt 4251. And the only adjustment, surprisingly, is the interstate hunt with Utah for 091, the Pilot Peak area. We guessed wrong last year on their 2014 season dates, and so the September 13th through October 3rd is the exact same dates that they have to correspond with their hunts.
Commissioner McBeth?
Okay, now my comment's a little different on this hunt, both the resident and non-resident, in that Unit 223 was completely left off, and so I would propose, unless the department I think that was an oversight, and so unless the department has an explanation for that, I would propose to just add Unit 223 to the 221, 222 unit group early and late in both resident and non-resident.
Yes, it was a faux pas. Yes.
Okay, any other commission comments? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission for a motion. Commissioner Macbeth.
Okay, I'd move to approve resident elk antlered any legal weapon hunt number 4151, as well as non-resident elk antlered any legal weapon hunt number 4251 as proposed by the department, with the exception of adding unit 223 to the 221, 222 unit groups early and late in both resident and non-resident.
Second?
We have a motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passed unanimous.
All right, we're going to finish off on page 8 with our new recommended spike hunts. We have sorry, we've got them. Oh, no, wait a minute. Do we just have archery? Yeah, just archery. Okay, so we just have a weapon class for archery. Is it on the? Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, we'll start with the any legal weapon hunt. 4651. Yeah, bottom of page 8. Yep, sorry. For those selected unit groups, and if it hasn't been apparent, our biggest concern about getting elk harvest is in Area 6, the 2 unit groups. The spike hunt, as was described, and just remind everyone back in December when we recommended it, we definitely need more bull harvest in concert with our cow harvest, but we didn't want to put added pressure onto the mature bull segment. We don't have a management bull hunt, so this was our next best option of putting pressure on the yearling bulls. So these seasons actually correspond with the cow elk seasons, any legal weapon cow elk seasons.
Okay, any questions? Public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
I'll make a motion to approve resident elk spike any legal weapon hunt 4651 as proposed by the department.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
And the longbow archery spike hunt 4641 for residents.
Any questions? Any public comment? Bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
Go ahead and move to approve resident elk spike longbow archery hunt 4641 as proposed by the department.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
Does everyone concur that is all the elk?
What about, did we do 4102?
Yes, thank you. Glad somebody's watching out for me. All right, the very beginning of our elk hunts. Bottom of page 5, the depredation and illegal weapon hunt for antlered elk for residents 4102. The only change is extending the late seasons to January 15th, and we took the single long season in Area 14 and spread that out into 3 hunts in hopes to accommodate increasing quotas.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission. Commissioner Macbeth?
Finish this up. Resident elk antlered. Move to approve the resident elk antlered any legal weapon depredation hunt 4102 as proposed by the department.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Macbeth, second by Commissioner McNinch. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous. Now I think we're done with elk.
Thank you. Next is our desert bighorn, Nelson, any ram hunts, any illegal weapon hunt 3151 and 3251. Recommended changes are to split Unit 212, which is Lone Mountain, into an early and late hunt. We we certainly discussed having the early hunt in that October period, but we also know that we're going to try to nab some sheep off of that mountain through net gun captures, and our window for that is early November, when we've got the temperatures where we need them, and it's at least 2 weeks before the season opener. So we decided just to start a few days earlier and let it run through the 26th of December on that late season, and trying to get at least 3 weeks for each of those early and late seasons. Non-residents, as a kind of a precaution and taking a conservative approach based on the past observations we've had in the Spring Range and in the El Dorado, North El Dorados, we're recommending to close the non-resident hunts. The observations from the hunters of slightly elevated number of deadheads on the ground, and in concert with our disease surveillance in some of those southern Clark County units where we know we have mycoplasma that certainly has probably worked on reducing the lamb recruitment. The story's not quite clear on the adult survival and its impact on the adults. So thought we'd just eliminate those 2 hunts in case we're looking at a lower quota come May.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, public comment on the season dates. Do you have something, Mr. Clifford, on season dates for resident Nelson?
For the record, Eric Clifford, Churchill Cab. Our cab recommended to extend the season date for the northern unit, Desert Bighorns. Justification being that hunting in late November with the snow, it's hard to get to for hunter access, and also that some of our board members stated there's no justification for a season different than California sheep. So it's something that we're going to look at, but it is our proposal. So just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll bring it back to the commission. Mike, I have a question for you, Mike. Have you looked at maybe lengthening the desert and looking at those northern units as Churchill recommended? And I know you worry about trap and transplant during that time.
We need to have a more serious discussion about that. When we established the early season on top of Mount Jefferson, Unit 161, which is October 15th through November 5, we definitely had the justification to support an earlier hunt there, knowing the rams are still, many of them, not all, are still at over 10,000 feet. And certainly the climate and the weather, on top of all those central mountain ranges, Clan Alpines, Desatoyas, Stillwaters, can get pretty brutal in November potentially. We've also had folks come to us and ask us to extend the seasons to New Year's on the back end, knowing that we've got a 2-month season for California and Rocky. Why not a 2-month season for deserts? And really, well, there's a nuance coming the next hunt, but without that, a lot of our seasons have been designed to accommodate a window for our captures. So we've found that if we capture, net gun capture anything earlier than November 1st, we've got some pretty high temps, ambient temperatures, then places a lot more stress on our animals. Instead of being in the 80s, we like to be down in the high 60s for game time temperatures, for captures. On the back end, we really don't want to be capturing deserts after December 15th if we can do everything we can not to do that, because they're in their last semester of pregnancy. So we've always tried to have that window in early November, but I think many of us biologists, I don't have a problem with an earlier season for those Central Nevada units, as long as we could cut those off November 5th and give us an opportunity to do some captures right after. Because I know we're looking at probably moving some sheep out of a portion of the Clan Alpines that are kind of stacked on some waters or a water. And maybe someday we'll have the Desatoyas back to allow us to capture. And so
I'm thinking of personal experience this year, but in Unit 211, we made some boundary adjustments last year, and you get the first week of the season, those rams will be on the volcanic hills, and not long after that, they disappear over in the Candelaria Hills, and we went from seeing 12, 13 rams a day to not seeing any rams for multiple days. And so, if it was a little earlier, we might be able to still chase those rams, but we just flat ran out of rams. Maybe a season adjustment in there would be justified too. I don't know if this year's the year to do it. Maybe we need to take it in front of the cabs with a proposal. But we do need to start looking at some of those northern units and adjusting seasons. Things do change in the north.
I agree.
Okay, now we've had some discussion. Is there any public comment on the discussion we had? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the commission.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve resident Nelson Desert Bighorn Sheep, any ram, any legal weapon, hunt 3151, and non-resident Nelson Desert Bighorn Sheep, any ram, any legal weapon, hunt 3251, as recommended by the department.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed unanimous.
Make sure I have a note to remind ourselves to definitely have a serious chat about that before next year. Next hunt, our new hunt that we're recommending for ewes, for desert bighorn sheep, and illegal weapon 3181. We, in our meeting in early January, our biologists got together here in Reno, or up in Reno, and it took a little bit to get our dialogue going and to get our biologists to realize we have a very serious situation with some of our herds throughout the state. And we probably have been kicking the can down the road a couple years. We probably should have been looking at this earlier in terms of populations that are nearing their carrying capacity. So I asked our biologists to consider for each of their unit groups and the habitat that their bighorn live in and their seasonal distribution based on whatever the most critical bottleneck of their resources are to develop what we're calling a sustainable management level, whether it's too many sheep on a single water development, winter range limitations, density overall across the entire annual habitat that they live in, even forage limitations. What could we and should we be managing to sustain that herd long term and to sustain those herds through the bad times? And we've got a lot of bad times out there and have had for the last 12 months because of lack of moisture in many of our herds. And it's not only affected the water availability, but the amount and quality of the forage. So we identified about 6-7 unit groups, 6-7 herds that were bursting at the seams. It includes Esmeralda County unit groups, the Muddy Mountains, the Bear Mountains, and